Shalom, this is Avraham Shira from Israel. It's Erev Shabbat. The world is winding down here, another week of creation. It's been a hard week in Israel. We've got war on all sides, but it's been a hard week all over the world for people everywhere. And we're all in it together, whether we like it or not. Rebbe Nachman has some words for us here that are going to help us. Help us with this day, with this week, and with this world. He begins, "Ayreish mekareb nefashot l'Shem yitbarach, ayrei yitbaradut Shem yitboded, mesiach beino leven kono, shofet edan et tzmo, kol ma she'asa," by drawing people closer to God. And by speaking to God alone with your own words, in your own language, in your own place, in your own special time and place. Those two things. Speaking to others about God, encouraging other people to get closer to their true selves, to the true self of all creation, and talking to God about ourselves, where we are holding in truth. What does this do? Al yedei zeh zocheh l'shmirat Shabbat. We merit to keep Shabbat. Now, if you look at it on the outside, I have to do all those things. I got to talk to God alone, and then I have to speak to other people about getting closer to holiness and closer to God. And then I merit to keep Shabbat. Well, if looking at it on the surface, it looks like, well, first I better keep Shabbat, and then maybe I'll have enough peace of mind and center and ease of consciousness to talk to people about such a sensitive issue like getting close to God. And maybe if I keep Shabbat, then I'll have more of a heart to talk to God in my own words instead of reading from a book. But no, the Rebbe says it's the opposite. Because keeping Shabbat is a long-term project. There are thousands of laws, tiny little minutiae that are important, that we don't know, that we learn as we go. But on a deep level, the soul knows those laws, but on a conscious level, we haven't learned them, so we don't know them. So there are many times where we can put our hands on a light switch and forget that it's Shabbat. Or you lean up against, something and it gets turned on. All kinds of little things that you wouldn't know by learning the law. But by keeping Shabbat, here we're talking about Siyata Deshmaya, where God, heaven itself, helps you keep Shabbat. And what happens? All evil is canceled. On Shabbat, we say that the evil forces that surround the world, that surround human beings, that surround communities, even evil forces that surround animals, are canceled, are dampened, are quieted, are silenced on Shabbat. Doesn't mean they go away forever. But once a week, we get that chance to enjoy life without that war against evil. So what's going on here? Let's answer the question again. What's the connection talking to people, talking to God, and keeping Shabbat? Well, it's an interesting idea, because when you talk to God, you're actually drawing yourself closer to the source of life. When you talk to other people about these ideas, you're drawing them closer to the source of life. And when you keep Shabbat, you are drawing closer to the source of life. We've learned before in this class and on our Patreon site and on YouTube channel many times this idea that Shabbat is the center point of creation. Why? Why this day and not all the other days? Well, it's simple, really. Because before you do anything, you are in a state of rest. You are in a state of peace. And before God created this world, He was, as if to say, in a state of peace. He had not yet created the world. He had not yet brought man into the world, the only being that we know of that can go against His will. God was at peace. And so you need to have peace before you can create. And that's why if any of you are artists or writers or musicians or businessmen for that matter. Whatever you do, it's going to help you to reach peace before you go to express yourself in your art or in your work. And this is something we're doing on our meditation class on Patreon. I encourage you all to go there, because we learn about meditation and then we practice it. And then we learn about that spirit that's inside our heart and our soul that seems far away from us. But it's actually very close when we learn how to access it. So this is the peace that preceded creation. And now we're in creation trying to get back to that peace. And we got missiles flying, and we got young people with rifles, and we got people screaming about the Jews, putting a trailer on the land. We've got impeachments. We've got, we've got a government that doesn't have a leader. Why? Because we don't have peace. We don't have peace between us and God, and we don't have peace amongst ourselves, and we don't have peace with ourselves. So is it any wonder all this is going on around us? But look what happens when we talk to other people about Hashem, when we talk to God himself directly with our own words, in our own place and time, and when we keep Shabbat, the Rebbe says, you enter this level where you cancel evil. Now, the canceling of evil doesn't mean it goes away forever. Eventually it will, but just for today, just for one moment. If I could reach my true self, I'm automatically enter a state of peace. Because the true self is at peace. Now, there are times where the true self says, get up and go and do something, because that's part of the bigger plan of creation. Like I told the story, I woke up in the middle of the night one night, and I had this dream that the bed was on fire. The leg of the bed, actually. And I was, what's going on? It's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm having this dream about my bed is on fire. I woke up, there's no fire. And I got this thought in my head, maybe I'll go visit my friend. I can't sleep. Down the hill here, there's a friend that lives in a trailer. He has a front porch. I drove up to the front porch, and the porch was on fire. A wooden leg had caught fire from a barbecue. It was catching the whole place on fire. I ran inside. I woke everybody up. We put out the fire. Everything was fine. But you see, that's where you're not at peace. But that's because it's demanded from heaven. That God wanted to save this person from a tragedy. And I happened to be the right person at the right time to wake me up in a dream to get me to go do it. Fine. You just make yourself available to God, and He'll do wonders with you. But if I'm not available, if I'm always stuck inside myself, if I don't make myself available to what needs to happen in the world at large, then how can I receive that spirit of peace, that spirit of Shabbat, that spirit of being at one with everything else? And that means being prepared to go the extra mile, to help somebody in trouble, to pick up a hitchhiker in the rain, whatever it is. And so we need to really focus on these simple things. Talk to God, talk to others about God, and to try to keep some kind of Shabbat. Now, I know not everybody out there is religious, not everybody out there is Jewish. But there has to be a day of rest. A rest from all these machines. A rest from all this radiation buzzing through our phones and our computers. In the walls of our houses. Try it one time. Turn off the electricity in your house and sleep. You will have a better sleep that night, I guarantee you. Because that's the natural state of our brain and our connection to the universe. And when we inject all these volts of electricity around us, what do you think? We're going to have the same level of inner peace? Not at all. So this is really the keeping of Shabbat on the inside. That place of inner peace. And ultimately, what we want to do is pull Shabbat into the weekday. That a little bit of the peace that we can achieve today we'll take into Sunday, and take it into Monday, and take it into Tuesday. And that takes work, that takes time, it takes discipline, it takes remembering. And that's where the real merit is to remember. Just to remember that I need to do this is the voice of your peace of God. Okay, one more time. When you remember to do something good, It's your Yetzer Tov, it's called in Hebrew. It's your good inclination reminding you to do that good thing. That is a piece of the divine. And Rebbe Nachman says when you have a good thought, that's a piece of the divine. So you see, the world really is kind of black and white in terms of good and evil. And when you choose good, you speak good to others, you speak to Hashem, and you judge yourself honestly. Now when you judge yourself, this is a very important part of repentance and tshuva. When I judge myself, I don't feel bad. I feel good because I'm truthful. Now, am I perfect? No. And if I think I should be perfect, then I'm going to feel bad. So we got to break that perfectionism trip because that's a bad trip. Nobody's perfect except the one who made us. Moses wasn't perfect and nobody else. And I don't have to be perfect. I just got to be me. Right? So all I have to do is say, yes, I did it. I did it, God. I'm sorry. Over, finished, done. Next. That's tshuva. But if I feel bad about myself and I put myself down because I did it, there's no end to the suffering. Because you open up a little voice in your head that constantly puts you down. And we don't need that voice anymore. That's the voice of evil. And if we can get this thing working, all these aspects together, guess what? Evil diminishes from the human race. Person by person, family by family, community by community, city by city, nation by nation. And how long it'll take? Well, you know, it's been a long trip already. 5,780 years since Adam ate from the proverbial fruit. The Gemara says it's 7 different fruits, which teaches you it's the 7 lights of the tree of life that he ate from. So forget about the apple and forget about Apple in Silicon Valley. It's the 7 lights of the tree of knowledge that Adam ate from. You know, we got to reframe all these metaphors and all this symbology to understand how this creation really works. So we ate from the duality and now we want to get back to the unity because that's really what we are. And when we get to that unity, which is Shabbat, then I can breathe deep, I can let go, I can make kiddush, I can look around my table and see my family and feel the wonder of it all. Okay, so Shabbat is coming and I have to say goodbye for now, but we'll be back online on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on Patreon and on YouTube and on Facebook and wherever you want to find us. Look for us, write us. God bless you all with that true inner peace. And watch the evil fall away. And eventually there's going to be a day where it's gone. And you'll wake up and you'll be amazed. Because you'll just be yourself. The true you, the holy, happy you, at peace with the world. And when everybody's at peace with everybody, Ya Habibi, that's what they call the Messianic era. So God bless all of you.